Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be showing you how I made this stylish vest. If you are new here, please hit the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell. Keep on watching and let's get started. I am starting with the back pattern, and the first thing I'll do is to tighten the center back. I'll go in by 0.75 at the waistline and I'll connect with a straight line to the top and bottom like so. This is to eliminate any bulginess at the center back. I have the shoulder line, the chest line, the waistline and the hip line. Shoulder to the chest line is 8.5 inches, to the waistline is 16 inches and to the hip line is at 24 inches. I'll go in with the shoulder measurements divided by 2 plus 0.5 inch for seam allowance. I'll mark it on the shoulder line and also on the chest line, and I'll connect with a straight line. I'll go in with a neck width of 3 inches and a neck depth of 2 inches and I'll connect with a curve. You can also use 1 inch for the neck depth. Next, I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slant and I'll connect with a straight line. I'll divide what I have left into 2 from the shoulder slant and get the midpoint. At the midpoint, I'll go in by 0.5. On the chest line, I'll go in with the bust measurements divided by 4. And I'll connect those 3 points together to form the armhole. On the waistline, I'll go in with the nipple to nipple measurements divided by 2. And at the hip line, I'll go up by 2 inches before placing the mark. And on the chest line, I'll come down by 1 inch and I'll mark the nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2 and I'll connect with a straight line. I'll come out by ½ inch on both sides of the dart leg on the waistline and I'll connect to the top and bottom like so. On the waistline, I'll go in with the waist measurements divided by 4 and I'll add 1 inch allowance for that. At the hip line, I'll go in with the hip measurements divided by 4 and I'll connect all those points together with my curved ruler. For this style, I'll be making use of the armhole princess dart. From the shoulder slope, I'll come down by 4 inches and I'll connect with my armhole curve to the dart line. Here, I'm just extending the dart line to the bottom of the paper. From the hip line, I'll go up by 2 inches. That is the length I want the back pattern to be. I don't want it to get to the hip line, so that is why I'm going up by 2 inches and I'll connect with a straight line. That is all on the back pattern. I'll cut it out now. Please label your pattern after cutting. You can point arrows on the pattern and also label it the center back and the side back. For this front pattern, the first thing you're going to do is to leave a space of at least 6 to 5 inches above the shoulder line. And on the side also, you're going to leave at least 2 inches by the side of the paper. Shoulder to the chest line is 8.5 inches. To the bust line is 11 inches, to the under bust is 14 inches, to the waistline is at 18 inches, and to the hip line is at 26 inches. The next step is to mark the neck width of 3 inches and a neck depth of 3 inches, and I'll connect with a curve. Next, I'll go in with the shoulder measurements divided by 2 plus 0.5 inch for seam allowance. I'll mark it on the shoulder line and also on the chest line and I'll connect with a straight line. Next, I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slant and I'll connect with a straight line into the neck width. From the shoulder slant, I'll divide what I have left into 2 and get the midpoint. At the midpoint, I'll go in by 0.75. And on the chest line, I'll mark the bust measurements divided by 4. I'll connect those 3 points together to form the armhole. Next, I'll go in with the nipple to nipple measurement on the waistline. The nipple to nipple measurements divided by 2. I'll also mark it on the bust line, and at the hip line I'll go up by 2 inches and I'll connect with a straight line. I'll come out by ½ inch on both sides of the dart leg or the waistline, and I'll connect to the top and bottom like so. Next, at the waistline, I'll go in with the waist measurements divided by 4, and I'll add 1 inch allowance for that. At the hip line, I'll go in with the hip measurements divided by 4, and I'll connect all those points together with my curved ruler. I will also be using the armhole princess darts for the front pattern. Just like we did with the back pattern, from the shoulder slope, come down by 4 inches, and you're going to connect that into the dart leg. But for this front pattern, I'll tighten the armhole with 1 inch, and I'll connect that into the bust point. And then I'll remark the armhole by extending it with the 1 inch I took out, and I'll connect like so. Here, I'll extend the dart line to the bottom of the paper. The next step now is to mark the button allowance. So I want the button to start from the underbust line. So from the underbust line, I'll come out and mark 1 inch for the button allowance. And from the waistline, I'll come down by 3 inches from the waistline. That is where the button allowance will end. And I'll connect that with a straight line. So at the hip line, I'll go in by 1 inch and I'll connect that into the button allowance. So that means we are going to have 2 buttons, one at the underbust line and the other one at the end point there. Just like we did for the back at the side here, so that the side can match up with the back, I'll go up by 2 inches and I'll connect that into the center front. I'll come up here and extend the shoulder line upwards like this, and then I'll mark 1 inch on both sides of the neckline like this. Just mark 1 inch on both sides. After marking that, I'll connect one side of the 1 inch I marked. I'll connect it to meet the button allowance. Connect like you see me doing. And the next thing I'm going to do is to bring in the back. Notice that we have changed the front neckline by going in by 1 inch at that point. So I'm going to do the same thing to this back pattern. I'll come in by 1 inch. I'll mark it at the neckline also and connect with a curve. After marking that, I'll cut it out. And then I'll go ahead and measure around the new neckline we have here at the back. Whatever measurement I get, I'm going to extend it on this front pattern. So I'm going to place my tape at the points where we came in by 1 inch at the shoulder there and mark the measurement I got on the back neckline. I'm just going to mark it like so, and I'll come in with my ruler and connect it into a straight line. But make sure that the line is slanted a bit. And the measurement I have in between there, that is 2 inches, I'll mark it at the top and connect like so. And I'll also connect it into the other side. So from the shoulder now, I'll come down by 4 inches and I'll mark the collar width, which is 2 inches. I'll connect it into a straight line and I'll also join it together with the line at the top. Now from the tip there, I'll go in by 1 inch and I'll also go up by 1 inch and I'll connect the 2 points with my ruler. This is to give the notched effect on the collar. The last step is to mark the bust darts. The difference between the front and the back half length is 2 inches, and that is what I am taking in as the bust darts. So from the bust line, I came down by 2 inches and I connected with a straight line to meet the bust point. That is all on the front pattern. I am cutting out now. This part is the collar, so you can label it the collar and also point arrows to it so you can know where to attach to the neckline of the vest. Like I said earlier, label your pattern so that you don't get confused. I have transferred the back pattern to fabric and this is what we have. I added ½ inch allowance all around the pattern, at the top, bottom and the side. Everywhere I added ½ inch allowance all around the pattern. And for the back pieces, for the center back, I have 2 main fabric and 2 lining. For the side back, I have 2 main fabric and also 2 lining pieces. So I'm going to take out the pattern now so that we can see what we have. I'll set the lining pieces aside so that we can work on the main fabric first. So basically what I'm going to do is to pin one piece of the side back to the center front. Make sure that the right side is facing each other. I'm just going to pin it like so. I'll do the same thing for the other side. Pin the side back to the center back. And I'll go ahead and stitch the pieces with ½ inch allowance. After pinning that, I'm also going to pin the 2 center back together. So pin the 2 center back together also, and go ahead, take it to the sewing machine and stitch with ½ inch. This same process, I'm going to repeat it on the lining pieces. So just go ahead and stitch all the pieces together. These are my front patterns and I've transferred to fabric also. I added ½ inch allowance all around the pattern, at the side, bottom, everywhere around the pattern. I added ½ inch allowance. For the center front, I have 2 pieces for the main fabric and 2 pieces for the lining. For the side front also, I have 2 pieces for the main fabric and 2 pieces for the lining. But for these front pieces, I am using the same fabric as my lining. I'll take out the patterns now so that we can see what we have. I'll set aside the lining pieces also so that we can work on the main fabric. So I'm just going to repeat the same process I did for the back. I'm going to pin the side front to the center front. Make sure that the right side is facing each other. You're going to pin the pieces together on both sides. And after pinning, I will take it to the sewing machine and stitch with ½ inch. So whatever process I'm doing to the main fabric, you're going to do the same thing to your lining pieces also. I have also transferred the collar pattern to fabric, and you can see the way it is folded like this. I added ½ inch allowance all around the collar pattern. I will take out the pattern now so that we can see what we have. So I cut out 2 pieces for the collar. I'll go ahead and add estay to one of the collar piece. These are the 2 front pieces. After I was done joining, I went ahead to press the seam flat, and this is what we have. The next step now is to go ahead and stitch the back to the front at the shoulder. So I'm going to place the back piece on the front, right side facing each other, and I will join it together at the shoulder. So I'll do the same thing for both the lining of the front and the back. This is the main fabric. After I was done joining, I went ahead to press it at the point where I joined it together, and this is what we have. For the collar pieces, I have added my interfacing on one side of the collar, and I'm just going to place it together, right side facing each other, and I'll go ahead and stitch the point where you see me marking on the collar. I'll take it to the sewing machine and stitch with ½ inch. I am done stitching here, and this is just a close view of where I stitched. The next step is to chop the corners off like you see me doing, so that by the time we turn it inside out, we'll have a sharp point there. So I'm just going to take it to the ironing table now and iron it properly, and I'll bring it back and show you. This is it after I was done pressing. I'm going to bring the main fabric here so that we can attach the collar piece to it. So notch the center of the collar and match it to the center back of the vest. This part of the center front, I'm going to notch it like this. Notch at least 0.25. It's very important to notch that point. So the next is me attaching the collar to the neckline of the vest. And by the time you get to that point where you notched, after pinning the collar to it, you're going to maneuver and just pick the rest of the collar to continue the stitch there. I hope you understand what I mean. That point you notch will help you to achieve a finished look at that point. So it is very important to notch the corners there. After pinning, you can see what I have. So I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. This part is a bit tricky, but please pay close attention to what I am doing. You're going to get it. This is it after I was done stitching the collar on the neckline of the vest. So you can see the part I was talking about. This is what you are going to have by the time you are done stitching. So now you are going to fix the lining to it, and the lining is going to cover the rest of the part that is open. So now I'm going to place the lining on the main fabric, and I'll go ahead and stitch round the neckline all the way to the front. So you are going to stitch the lining together with the main fabric from one end of the front to the other end. Go ahead and stitch with 1/2 inch from one end from the front like this all the way around the neckline and also to the other end of the front. This is after I was done stitching and I have pressed it properly. You can see what we have here. The next step now is to go ahead and stitch round the armhole. I'll fold one side of the armhole and cover the other side like this, and I'm just going to pin it together. And I'll take it to the sewing machine and stitch with 1/2 inch. This is after I was done stitching, and I'm just going to notch round the armhole. After notching, I'll turn it inside out. You can add hemming gum to the armhole while pressing. It is totally optional. You can decide to add or not. And I'll repeat the same process I did earlier to cover the other armhole. I'll take it to the sewing machine now and stitch. This is after I was done stitching, and you can see what we have. The next step is to close the bottom part of both the front and the back. So while pinning it together, make sure that anywhere you have joining on the main fabric and the lining, make sure that it matches up together. It is very important. And after pinning, I'll take it to the sewing machine and stitch with 1/2 inch. After stitching the bottom part of the vest all around, I went ahead to press it properly, and this is what we have. The next step is to go ahead and join the sides together. Place the front and the back together like this, right side facing each other, and I'll go ahead and use 1/2 inch to join on both sides. Thank you guys for watching. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, leave a comment, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. Please turn on your notification bell so you will get notified anytime I upload a new video. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.